Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Premier League show. Me and Ned are going to break down last weekend's games. And they started with Liverpool away to Nottingham Forest in a game that you would think Liverpool have just beat Man City. Only going to be one winner here. And then this is why people love the Premier League, because Nottingham Forest get a 1-0 win, and Liverpool, who I was astonished to find out, have not won an away game this season and continued. And that's a big blow for Liverpool, but a big positive for Forest.
They just seem to be 1 week on, 1 week off. And not that, I think they got beat by United, then they beat Bournemouth 9-0, and then a week later they dropped points at Goodison, fortunately for us. And I just think this is a game. I thought they'd kick on after City and then go into bottom of the table Forest, who only had one win at the time. I think that would be a good place to go to get your second win, and then they can go and get the third and fourth. And I think Forest surprised. I think Forest look like Forest are starting to, and this is probably their best performance because they look like a real team. And they're starting to really gel.
They got a draw, didn't they, last week? And obviously they've backed it up with a win at home, and that's huge for them. Trying to get themselves away from that bottom three. Obviously they're still there at the moment, but big defeat for Liverpool. No goals, which is probably a worse thing for them. Even when obviously they got a 1-0 win last week against City, which was huge. But obviously the week before they went to Arsenal, they got beat 3-2. At least they got a couple of goals. But I think the forward line, I know it's been in and out this season, different players and stuff, and no Diaz and stuff, but one player that they've relied on the last few years is definitely obviously Mo Salah. He's having a very indifferent season. I think in the Champions League he's absolutely flying, but in the Premier League it's just not quite there at the moment. And the lads over, and the ladies, on the playlist on 888 Sports YouTube channel have been chatting about the biggest flops of the season so far.
Okay, Mohamed Salah is not having a good season, but he has been unplayable for 6, and therefore the credit is so in the bank. The quality will come back, I'm sure.
Is he? Will it though?
But there's three.
Will it though?
I'd say that it's.
I'm asking a general question.
That's what. Do you know what I was about to say there, Flex? Right. I reckon that there's 3 players. You go Salah, Son, Sterling. The talent is there. Are we overestimating? Like, is Jack Grealish as good as we think he is? Is Jadon Sancho as good as we think he is?
No.
Is that the problem then? Or should they be on this list at all? Or are we expecting more?
The reason they're on their list is because one costs 75, one costs...
That's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
That's not their fault.
Unfortunately, it is.
No, they come.
You wouldn't put James Ward-Prowse on this list, would you? Because he's not good enough to
They
be
come
on this list.
they come with prestige, because they've shown, like when Grealish was at Villa, you can see there's ability there. Don't get me wrong, he was the main man, and it is different. I had my reservations about him going to sit in the first place. Sancho, when he was at Dortmund, he was balling out, he's playing well, frightening Champions League games, doing it.
Goals as well.
You know what I mean? There's enough mileage in their tanks to look at them and say, them taking another step up, right, they've got to be in there.
Two of the biggest teams in world football.
Exactly. So I don't think, to answer, I don't think it's unfair. Okay. What I do want to talk about is Mohamed Salah. If you look at players, right, who have signed big contracts, will the willy, won't he kind of thing, Aubameyang, David De Gea, Mo Salah. You've seen it where players have signed and it just wasn't quite the same. I'm not saying he's done and dusted. I'm asking you, as a Liverpool fan, and you guys at home, have we seen the best of Mo Salah? Is it only downwards from here?
So there you go. I mean, Salah, is he one of the big flops of the season so far?
It's hard because this time last year he was probably the best player in the world, and I remember in the summer they bringing in Darren Nunez who's a proper number 9, and they haven't played that way. They've sort of had Salah and Mane as the wide forwards. So whether it's a change of system or a change of the way they've been playing, whether it's Mane leaving, I don't know, but he just seems he can't find that groove. Whether he just needs a game where he just scores 2 or 3 goals and then he can kick on, or if it's a confidence thing, I don't know. But he's still a dangerous player. I've been watching him against us, and he's still a world class player. It's not like he's been atrocious. Maybe it's just that goal. And I think when people notice a player hasn't been scoring the goals they normally do, they get this narrative that they're not performing.
Yeah, I think what we've seen in the Champions League of him is still all there. And I think the break actually for the World Cup, because obviously he's not going the World Cup.
Yeah.
The break in the World Cup will probably do him really well. It'll do the whole Liverpool team really well, because they're struggling with injuries and probably that they're probably, I know people don't like to use it, but this is a team that for the last few years have been just on it every single year, and the same players have been going through it. So yeah, you'll have to wait and see. You can watch the rest of that video over on 888 Sports YouTube channel on the playlist. Make sure to let them know. Another player he mentioned there was Jack Grealish, who was part of the Manchester City team that beat Brighton Hove Albion 3-1. He went off after 77 minutes. But again, Haaland getting another 2 goals, and obviously one was a penalty, but his first one was just brilliant.
He just bodies anyone, doesn't he?
Defender. I mean, it's not a foul. I don't care what anyone says. It's not really a foul, but make sure he wins the ball, goes around the keeper, body checks the defender, and puts it in.
It's physically frightening to be that fast and that strong. Defenders must just start sitting as deep as they can, because he's an absolute machine. That man.
But just going back to what they were saying there on the video about Jack Grealish, is an interesting one, isn't he? Is he that good? Is he? Have we overhyped him because he's 100 million? Have we overhyped players like Sancho because of the money they've paid for him? I mean, I'd throw Richarlison in that group as well. I know he's injured at the moment, but is he another one? The price tag leads us to believe that he's going to be utterly amazing, and if he doesn't back it up, then somehow he's a flop. Because I think Jack Grealish is a very, very solid at the moment. I mean, squad players may be doing him down a little bit, but I think he's learning more and more about the system, the Pep system, every day, and you get a little bit more out of him. It's not flashy, he's not the Villa player, but that's just the way it is. When Thierry Henry went to Barcelona, he wasn't the player that was at Arsenal. He was a player who had all the skills and the intelligence, which is the most important thing, to play in this Barcelona system that Pep wanted. But he didn't use any of those. He wasn't like the player he was, and he said this himself. He said he didn't even really like it, but he did it, and I think that's where maybe where people have to understand Grealish as well, is that he's learning the system and he's going to be a cog. I don't think he's ever going to be the standout player. He's going to be a cog, but he's like a lot of players at Man City. He's going to be a really important cog.
Well, I don't think it's just something about Grealish. I think it's something you have to understand about Pep. Grealish, what he liked to do at Villa is, and it's why he was so important to Villa, hence why it cost City £100 million, not necessarily what the player's worth.
Well, that was a buyout clause.
Yeah, well, what Grealish liked doing is to drop deep, get the ball and run with it, and that's what he was good at. And he's got into City, and like a lot of players at City, it takes time to learn the job what Pep wants them to do. And it's not just Grealish. Mahrez took time to get used to it. Yeah. Jesus did. Sterling did.
Yeah.
It's just the way Pep plays.
Took any time for Haaland.
Like I said, Haaland's a machine, isn't he? He's not even human.
But an excellent 3-1 win. De Bruyne got the third after Trossard had got a goal, which I think really the keeper should have saved. But a great goal by De Bruyne. Good weekend for them after obviously what happened last weekend. We'll get beat at Liverpool, but a really good weekend for them. The other 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday was obviously Everton's game against Crystal Palace. Calvert-Lewin, Gordon and Dwight McNeil getting probably Everton's best win this season, wasn't it? Palace were, sometimes I'm accused of being a bit of a downer, but Palace didn't really come to town. That's down to Everton being so good, obviously.
I don't think Palace was shocking. I just think Everton, it was just a good performance, energetic. Everyone played their heart out, and it was a good tactical change by Frank Lampard. And obviously, Crystal Palace were missing an important player, and with Chet Decore, they put Milivojevic in, who's not the most mobile replacement for a player who gets around the pitch, and they got caught out. I think our midfield just seems to be winning every midfield battle. It's our problem so far certainly in the past few games before Palace was turning that into goals, and once we find those goals and can unlock teams, then teams really haven't got a chance. Yeah,
it's a really, really good win for Everton, and they'll be open to back it up against Fulham, who we're talking about at the moment. But the late game on Saturday was Chelsea versus Man United, and these games often get built up. I don't think this one did too much. I think it was a bit of an afterthought. I don't know why, but obviously Chelsea under Graham Potter have been really good so far this season. Although they were coming off the back of a draw against Brentford. Manchester United recently have picked up as well after the pacing against Manchester City. But it turned out to be a 1-1 draw with a couple of late goals. Jorginho got a penalty 87th minute, and then Casemiro got his first goal in the 94th minute, or 90 plus 4, because you can't actually have 94 minutes. But again, you know, we talk so much, you spoke about VAR, and so much you spoke about technology, but goal line technology showed how important it is for the header. It was a good header. It was a decent save, pushed it onto the post. And I think in the old days, this one would have been very, very hard to give. You'd be guessing.
We've seen some go further and not been given.
And this is where goal line technology is so good. And again, if we could get other elements of VAR, like the offsides, this cut and dry, this black and white, then it would make the game so much different. And you know, a big moment for the header for Casemiro to get his first goal. But again, it shows how good goal line technology is.
Yeah, I think Ten Hag will be happy with the point there. I don't think Potter's having such a like a honeymoon period. I think he's gone into Chelsea, and what he's doing is looking okay, and so I think Potter would have been disappointed dropping 2 points so late, but I think both teams respectively would be happy with the points.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think Graham Potter's had a very steady start at Chelsea. I don't think he's done anything mad. I think he's just gone in there, and I don't think it's been like, oh my God, look at this. I think it's just been steady, and sometimes that's better. You know, they've done okay in the Champions League of late as well, and I think that's better sometimes. Just have a nice steady start, and obviously Manchester United in good form as well. So at this stage of the season, these games, both managers probably look at them and think, you know, I'll take a point today. So probably Chelsea be disappointed for conceding such a late goal, but it kept having a point kept Chelsea above Manchester United. Chelsea on 21 points. Manchester United on 20 after both playing 11 games. So
yeah,
they'll Chelsea will probably be happy just because Manchester United will be happier because they've won a point.
And the Chelsea hasn't got away from him as well, which is the thing.
But Chelsea be thinking, well, we're still above them, but we haven't been beaten.
I think Chelsea, obviously they've got a couple of games left, but I think that break will be massive for Chelsea. Potter, he's not been there long. He's come in not mid-season, but during the season. So.
Yeah, but Chelsea will be one of those teams, I imagine.
A lot of players,
have a lot mission.
True.
Moving on to Sunday, lots of games on Sunday, lots of big ties that involve teams that are in the bottom half of the table. And, you know, Aston Villa just sacked Steven Gerrard, played at home to Brentford, and basically instantaneous just showed the difference.
3-0 in 15 minutes.
3-0 up in 15 minutes, and then to 4-0. Bailey got one after 2 minutes, then Ings got a couple of goals, and then Ollie Watkins scored to blow Brentford out the ground. And it shows you, I mean, in one way it shows you what changing a manager can do, but on the other hand, you look at it and going, why didn't you all do this?
Yeah.
I know you mightn't like the fella, but why didn't you all do it? I know there was changes, by the way. I know the likes of John McGinn went out the team and things like that, and Coutinho went out the team, and I think Ings come back into it, and Watkins, and you know, it was more of maybe what the fans had wanted to see rather than what the manager wanted to see, Steven Gerrard. But that is a really, really good win for Villa.
I think everyone had said they lost the dressing room. I think the Coutinho thing played a big part in that, because Coutinho was Gerrard's, you know, star man or something, wasn't he? And he doesn't think he deserved to play, to be honest. And I think that caused a bit of a sticky situation with the players, and it showed on Sunday that you take a toxic manager out of a situation, and the players can shine. And that's modern football. If players aren't happy, they'll play that they're not happy, and they'll show that attitude in game. How wrong it is, it's just a part.
No, I know, and I do agree with you. I know people will go, the players are a disgrace, but it does happen. It happens all the time.
Management is probably as big as ever, really.
Yeah, and what I would say is, I'll tell you what though, I mean, great win for Villa, and they've obviously made a decision that they've brought, obviously, the new manager in.
Unai Emery.
Yeah, Unai Emery, who obviously we've seen here before at Arsenal, and really, really good coach. So they've made that decision, and he'll have the time when the break comes in 3 weeks or a couple of weeks or whatever it is, to get them on the training pitch and stuff.
You'll have a window as soon as that's over as well.
But I'd say Brentford though, recently away, I mean five at Newcastle, for Villa. I know the home record's decent. He drew with Chelsea 0-0, but after having a really good start, they've sort of been dragged back into the mix now.
Defensively shocking. I know they've gone to a back four a few times this season. They lost a couple of defenders as well, but they just keep leaking goals away from home. Some of the goals that they could have easily kept out against Villa, they just gifted it, so they moved poor, to be honest. But
moving on, I think the latest manager under pressure is at Leeds United, Jesse Marsh.
Did you hear his after match? He said, I'm sick of losing games. I'm sick of not taking chances. I was a player, and as a manager, I've never gone through this.
Yes,
Premier League, mate.
Nobody has, though. He has.
I know, it's
though. No, I mean, ultimately, I think he's finding out what the Premier League's all about. Obviously, Fulham beat them 3-2 after Leeds had taken the lead. But again, Fulham proving he can score goals everywhere. But I think he said after the game as well, and it would annoy me. He said, as a fan, he said, I'm not here to talk about tactics and stuff like that. I thought, well, what are you here to talk about?
You have to show the fan. Obviously, the fans shown how unhappy they were after the game.
Yeah.
So that was a chance for him to settle the fans. Yeah. Pretty much like what Martinez used to do and just say, listen, we're building something.
He's a very sort of excitable fella who, we've seen it when we played them with the whole timekeeping and all that.
Excitable? He's like put it off his head.
I know, he likes to put himself out there and I get that in a way, because that can be good, that can take the pressure off the players, because he, at the moment, is sort of like, you don't even really worry too much about the Leeds players, it's all about the manager. But, listen, Leeds last season, certainly when he came in, were terrible. That's not going to be an easy job, and I don't think they should rush to judgment. Certainly not before the break. Anyway, I don't. That where they are isn't. There's a couple of wins or a win, and they could easily be in the top half.
I know they're dropping down.
I know. I think the Gerrard thing was a different situation, because I think people genuinely disliked him at the club, and the players disliked him. So that was a hard one. But yeah, they'll be disappointed losing at home, losing 3 goals. But great win for Fulham as well. Absolutely fine. Another good win in the top half of the table. They're scoring goals, and Marco Silva's doing a really, really good job there.
I think Mitrovic. The thing with Fulham is they've got players who had played in Premier League before. I went down with Fulham, and they've stayed with them. Had a really good season in the Championship. Now they come back up, and you've seen the effect it's had on players like Mitrovic, who didn't score many at all when they went down. He had a great season, scoring 40 odd goals, and they come up and he's on 9 goals already in something like 11 appearances, which is crazy.
Yeah. Moving on, the league leaders, Arsenal, went to Southampton, took an early lead through Xhaka, but couldn't hold on, and Stuart Armstrong scored in the 65th minute to make it 1-1. Pretty even game, and Arsenal had more possession than them, but shots-wise, it was 3 shots on target, pretty much even on all the other counts, maybe apart from possession. Southampton had way more corners, so Southampton definitely deserved something out of the game, and obviously Arsenal went on and lost in the Europa League, so it's been a bit of a wobble for them this week. They're still 2 points clear at the top from Manchester City, but Manchester City breathing down the necks, now, so it'll be interesting moving forward.
I think other fans looking in, and I suppose Arsenal as well, before the start of the season, they say, Arsenal, we won a top 4 finish, and we'd look at Arsenal go around top 4, but I think when certainly the fans would feel that when you get off to a start like that, with the momentum, and you're winning every week, when you drop points like that, there's always something inside you like, we could go in and win this. So the fact that them dropping points at a team like Southampton, I think they'd be gutted.
Yeah, and they've got a great opportunity to bounce back this weekend. They're playing Forest at home on Sunday, so that's a great opportunity for them to bounce back. I
still think that as a team so far, I think they're doing better than anyone else predicted they do, to be honest.
Easily better. Leicester went to Wolves and had 4 shots on target and scored 4 goals. Wolves had 5 shots on target and didn't score a goal. In fact, they had 5 shots on target, 8 shots off target, and Leicester only had 5 and scored 5 the whole game and scored 4. Tielemans, which was an unbelievable goal, by the way. Barnes, Maddison and Vardy. That's like their Beatles, innit? Those 4 are like their Beatles.
Fab 4.
They're like their Fab 4.
It was very Paul Scholes-esque goal, wasn't it, from Tielemans? Smashed it. I'm surprised he's not gone to a club like Liverpool or City or someone by now, but they've kept hold of him and he's doing really well.
Well, he's in the last year of his contract, isn't he? So we will go somewhere at the end of the season. Someone will get a bargain there. Good win for Leicester. That's moved them up to 11 points. And, when you consider that, 15 points is 9th or 16 points is 8th. The pack above them, the likes of Everton, Palace, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, is only a point away. So they've put themselves massively back in it now.
Yeah. I think that will give them confidence. I think they really poor defensively to get off this season, so another a clean sheet will do them really well. And I think Brendan Rodgers I know he was under a lot of pressure, certainly early in the season, but he's a good manager, and you'll get him organised, and he's obviously a good result.
And obviously that put them above Wolves. Wolves are on 9 points. They're in the bottom 3 at 19th place. They haven't got a manager yet. I think they've decided to leave the coaching charge till next year. But again, they're on 9 points. You know, they're a win away from being again back in the pack. It's not at this stage. It's not a massive drama where they are.
Yeah.
You know, if this is the worst, and I know it doesn't always work out like this, but if this is the worst run they have all season, they've got a great opportunity. Leicester are back in the pack after picking up a few points. So
I think another team there that could do with the break already. This fella's got the job till next season, so see what he can do with this break.
Well, it's next year, isn't it? It's not actually next season. So
It's straight. I just think sacking Bruno Lage, and not really much plan what to do after it except leaving this fella in.
In the other game, sort of like another big game of the day, Newcastle went to Tottenham, and Newcastle basically did what Everton couldn't do the week before. They took their chances. Wilson capitalising on a Lloris mistake and then chipping it over them. Almeida getting another good goal just before half time. Kane got one back in the second half, but it wasn't enough.
Two mistakes from Lloris for me. I thought he was absolutely shocking. I don't know what he's doing he's probably expecting a foul or something from the Wilson, but that goalkeeping from the Almiron goal is absolutely shocking.
It is shocking. It goes right under him.
Guard your near post, and if he goes far corner, you've done your job. He runs out of him and just falls on the floor.
But again, it's a game where it's really, really close, and all it is one team took 2 chances and the other team could only take 1, and that's the thing. If you've got to take your chances, Everton go there the week before, can't take their chances and end up getting beat 2-0. Looks really comfortable. Yeah, if they take the chances to get in the first half, the game's completely different. And if you are defensively solid, like Newcastle are, and like Everton are to a point, if you can take your chances and then get solid, you make it really hard for the opposition. I think what Newcastle got to take a lot of credit for there, and is that they managed to go the last half an hour, you know, because when it got to 2-1 there, I honestly was expecting Tottenham to get a second. I was just thinking there's plenty, you know, there's Kane scores on the 54th minute. There's 36 minutes to score another goal, and
they didn't really do much as well, to be honest.
So Newcastle have done brilliantly there, and
they're starting to show the difference now in what they've been doing. I think Eddie Howe came in last season. He made him quite solid at home, picked up a few points away, and now they're starting to get, you know, wins away, which is really good.
They're just really organised. They've got 21 points out of 12 games, plus 10 on the goal difference, which is absolutely huge as well. I think they're just a very well organised team and a very balanced team. They've got a decent defence, a decent midfield, and a decent attack.
They brought in players that were really smart buys as well.
Both players in the needed. No, I don't think there's no fat. There's no waste. It's again, go back to Everton. It's where Everton have got us so wrong over the years. And the final game of the weekend was Monday night. West Ham taking on Bournemouth. Bournemouth been doing very well of late. They took the lead on the 45th minute, Zuma, and got a penalty in the last minute through Ben Rama. Both of them with a little bit of controversy. Yeah. Zuma volleyballs the ball, basically. It goes back into play off a corner, and then he gets a header on it, 1-0. The VAR determined that the handball wasn't on purpose, so therefore it's fine. Yeah, the problem I've got with that is if a defender does that, it's a penalty. Yeah. And then at the end of the game, Bournemouth give away a penalty, very similar circumstances, with the ball gets crossed, his hand's there when he slid, it hits him and it's a penalty. And this is what I find a little bit mad about the offside, is that how can one be offside, handball? How can one be handball and one not handball?
My issue was the first, that's not a natural position. The ball's coming towards you, that's not a natural reflex. I think the Bournemouth one, he's dove in, and as you dive, your arms, you can't dive like this, you dive like this, and his arms coming down in motion. And if it doesn't hit him because it's here, it hits his chest or whatever. And I think Bournemouth will be hard done by. I know they're having, I think they're 14th now. They're having a good season, so I don't think they'll be too.
14 with 30.
I think if they went there and got beat, I don't think they'd be too upset. But I think they got hard done by. But in terms of West Ham, I think it's another 3 points. Yeah. Bit less pressure off Moyes. They're starting to get the groove now.
We're in the top half of the table on 14 points now. Top half of the table, as I said, they're within. you know, they're within a win of Liverpool and being back amongst it. They're doing really well in Europe. They won again in the Europa League. They've already qualified. Their season now is got to that level where they've got over a bumpy start, not winning games, and they're winning again. It's classic Moyes.
That's a typical Moyes season, is it? Yeah. You get off a bit shaky. Everton fans never put that much pressure on like West Ham fans did this season because we expect it. Poor start, you get over a little bump, and then around October, November, you start picking up wins.
Good win for them, but just looking at the table, Arsenal top 28 points, Man City 26 points, played the same games, which is 11. The game in hand is against each other. Tottenham in third, and this is where they'll be really disappointed. 23 points. If they'd got a win, they'd be on the same points as City and 2 points behind Arsenal. They're on 23. Mad that the Arsenal's goal difference 14, City's 25, and then Tottenham's is 9. Newcastle 4th on 21, Chelsea 21. They've played a game less than Newcastle, and Manchester United in 6th on 20. And I'll just do the bottom 3. Forest bottom with 9, Wolves with 9, and Leeds in the bottom 3 now with 9. So, yeah, there you go. 3 games till the World Cup. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. And then we get the break. So we'll be covering it here on the Premier League show on Toffee TV. Make sure you check out the rest of that 888 Sport video over on their channel, the playlist. Get over there, give the lads your feelings in the comments, give them a like, subscribe to them. There you go. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. Give this video a like if you want more great videos, daily live videos. Join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description and it's on the screen now.